Hello again there, Fear fans, and welcome back to the ZMAM show. Tonight we're talking episode 416. This is the finale of season 4. I have to apologize that we're not on video, or at least myself on video tonight. We've been trying to work really hard to getting the Dead Nightmares episode 6 completed, and in fact we just released our trailer, so make sure you go out to my channel and check it out. It is super intense. It's only a minute long, but I think it's going to show you some of the intenseness that we're bringing back in this episode, and I think you're all really going to enjoy it. But that aside right now, let's get straight into, again, episode 416, as we start off with Althea, and we finally get to see how she made her way out of the hospital. It was a very quick, but she said, I guess she managed to make it to the basement and then out a set of area where she basically was able to start resupplying herself. I mean, we really got to see Althea as a really good survivor. I mean, she knows just how to get out there and get after it and not waste any time. And before we know it, she's already got her tack gear on. She's got a shotgun. She even manages to find a news truck, and which of course was amazing into her eyes because she got in there and found another camera with battery life. Well, pretty amazing, by the way. But all the same, she finds her another camera. She feels at home again, at least for the moment, as she starts kind of backtracking her way to the hospital to see if she can find her friends. But instead of finding her friends, who does she find? Crazy Martha. And so Crazy Martha's got Jim tied up, on the zombie dog chain type thing. And, Althea has her at gunpoint, with the shotgun and Martha's trying to tell her, like, I need you to deliver a message to Morgan. And of course, Al's just totally reluctant to doing this. But just like all other situations, some walkers decide to start making their way in and disrupt things. While Althea is trying to take them out, Martha is able to get a cheap shot in and knock out Althea. Lucky for Al, though, that Martha did not kill her. I'm kind of interested in why she didn't kill her, because she ended up leaving the message for Morgan on the camera anyways, but I guess she killed what other walkers were nearby, and then luckily John and the others managed to backtrack towards the hospital, and they must have found her, because the next scene we see is Althea waking up and John and June are talking to her about what had happened to her. And so as we get through it and just pass through a bit, we find Morgan is watching Martha's message on the camera, and she's talking about, of course, making him strong, and how she's going to be strong soon too, which I guess we're relating to she is planning on turning. She wants to become a zombie, and I guess so she can continue her craziness as a zombie to, ruin people's lives and kill others and so forth. So she feels that she's trying to teach Morgan a lesson here, but meanwhile Morgan wants to teach her his lesson and his findings, which is pretty much that you can come back and that he's been there. And this is true, Morgan has been there. The only problem is Morgan is strong. He feels that he's not as strong as he thinks he is, but he really is a strong character. And so Morgan gets the chance to basically try to sneak away at night. John catches him for a moment, trying to talk some sense into him, basically that this is a crap plan and that she doesn't deserve it. She doesn't want the help, but Morgan wants to try and give it anyways. So John lets him go, so that was cool. Morgan, he pretty much laid the line and said, John, I said I'm going. He's done. So Morgan makes his way. He travels all night, it looks like, and he manages to catch her on the walkie, and Martha reveals that she's at mile marker 54, and so he continues his way, and by whatever midday the next day, he finally comes across that kind of bridge area where Martha had lost her husband. And so he finds the cop car, and poor Jim is in the back seat, and he's trapped, and he finally sees Morgan and starts doing his zombie, screeching or whatever. So Morgan luckily lets Jim out and then releases him. So I really did feel bad for Jim that he had to turn and face that. I mean, obviously Jim himself was probably not aware. Probably not. That's debatable what the zombies actually are aware of. But Morgan is able to kill him, and he sees Martha across the way on the clearing in the grass. So he gets over there, turns her over to find out she's in some serious trouble. She's dying. From that shot, at least that we think that I think it was Wendell that shot her with the shotgun. And so Morgan manages to get her back to the cop car, tosses her in the back, and they're off on their way to make it back to the truck stop where the friends are meeting up. During this whole time, Morgan is not able to get in contact because he's out of range with that, I guess, small wave walkie-talkie. The other friends, Wendell, Sarah, Alicia, Lucian, all those guys, they finally make it back again to that truck stop, and they get inside. They have power. They're making coffee. They have a moment to rest and reflect. There was a really touching moment with even June and and John, and we finally get to see them kind of kiss and a little bit of intimacy there. So that was kind of fun. I think we've been seeing how innocent their relationship has been thus far. I mean, but John is a very Admiral cut and stand-up type of guy, so not willing to take advantage of anyone. So it was just kind of neat to see that moment between them. But before we start singing Kumbaya and everything's all good, Althea's out loading her weapons on her big SWAT truck, and a few zombies start making their way in, from around the corner. And as she's getting down to pretty much take care of them right quick, she suddenly falls weak, extremely weak, and drops all the way off the truck down to her knees as the zombies get closer and closer, and she's in deep trouble. And luckily, Alicia is able to put a few shots off and kill those walkers before they got to her. But then, before we can almost blink an eye, all of the friends are now turning badly sick. So they've been poisoned somehow. As we jet forward a little bit, we get back to Morgan. Morgan's driving with Martha in the back, and Martha seems to be in a ton of pain from her wounds and so forth. And he's like, "You're going to take these pills." And she gives in. She says, "Fine, I'll take your damn pills, whatever." He opens up the little police window to put his hand back there. I mean, oh, Morgan, why would you do that? He's driving at high speeds. He's probably swerving. And she grabs onto his arm and just starts, rigging it back and forth, probably putting him in major pain, throwing the vehicle out of control and slamming into a cliff wall to the side, and he gets knocked unconscious. So Morgan comes back kind of too. It was kind of neat how they did that too. I love how when somebody's coming, back into consciousness, I love how they kind of blur it out. They kind of mask around the sides with the black shadows and so forth. But Martha, she goes, "You shouldn't have tried to help them." She goes, "You need to be strong, blah, blah, blah." So as they're sitting there and they're talking, Morgan is able to get out of Martha that she has poisoned the friends with antifreeze. So very sick. A sick thing to do, by the way, and also you can't smell it, you can't taste it, so there's no way that the friends would have known, right? And Martha, during all this, also reveals that there is no turning back for her. So when she raises up her shirt, you see this huge wound, like on her, where that shotgun was, but I don't think it looked like a bite to me. I think she let Jim maybe bite her or something. I'm not exactly quite sure, but it looked more to me than just some wounds from that, from the pellets and the shrapnel, whatever, from the shotgun. I don't think that did it. So, maybe, I don't know how she would have worked that one out where she got bitten but didn't get killed. But all the same, she is well on her way to turning. And so Morgan, he kind of loses it at a certain point when he hears his friends, pretty much dying over the walkie, and he starts choking her out. And she's happy about this because, one, she'll get to finally turn and complete her transition, and then Morgan also reverting back to his old ways. But luckily, Morgan somehow manages to see his reflection in that mirror, and he saw the message on his forehead, which I guess bad move on Martha's part, because Morgan finally kind of came to. He let her go, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to do this." He goes, "I'm going to save my friends no matter what it takes." And before he leaves, he handcuffs Martha to the cop car door, basically saying, "I don't have to kill you right now, and I don't want to kill you, but I'm not going to let you kill anybody else after you turn." So I thought that was pretty cool, and you could see Martha's just pissed and upset about this because she wanted to be able to roam and do her thing as a walker. So she's there crying as Morgan walks off into the distance, and he starts making that perilous journey to the truck stop. Meanwhile, all the friends are slowly withering away from the poison. They find that they have a chance to save themselves once they find out. Luckily, Morgan makes it to a certain point where he can contact them, right? And he says, yeah, it's the antifreeze that's in there, so you need ethanol. Ethanol is the cure. And then actually June, I believe, called that one out because obviously she is the nurse. And it just so happens there's a truck of ethanol right out in the parking lot of the truck stop. So, there was a pretty cool scene set up where the friends try to make a very aggressive move outside the front doors to try and get to the truck and get the ethanol to cure themselves. It was pretty crazy. They're trying to do a sound distraction as well as just going guns blazing. You got John killing. You got Luciana with her axe she's getting pretty good at, but they're all super weak. They're falling to their knees every other second. Strand and Luciana are able to make it to the truck while Althea makes it to her SWAT truck. And Strand is unable to get the ethanol, release thing for all the fluid in the back to let go. Could be fully rusted, who knows what, but it's not doing it. And all the walkers start drawing their attention, and luckily Althea yells out, "Get down!" and she just unleashes a rain of fire from those just newly loaded M60 machine guns on her truck, and it just rips down those 20 to 30 walkers, which was a pretty cool scene, I will say. But in the process, it also ripped the hell out of the ethanol truck, which I have to admit I thought was a little weird, because by the time they get back inside, they tell Morgan that they had a chance, they almost got the ethanol, but the truck's gone now. Yeah, that's true, but I mean, if anything, it gave you a way to get to the ethanol, right? I mean, just because the bullets pierced the truck, it's not like the ethanol went bad, so why didn't they just put their container underneath the leaking truck, fill it up, and then get inside? I was just very confused by that scene. If you guys got something else out of it, please let me know. All the same, the friends do get inside there in their last moments. Althea is actually taking a look through her tapes, just kind of reflecting on her life and the friends and people that, whose stories she was able to capture. Some of them even loved ones, which we don't know who the loved ones were yet, but hopefully they will reveal that in season 5, so we get a little bit more, even more depth to Althea's character. But suddenly you hear like this vehicle stop outside or something like that, and then all of a sudden you hear somebody just whooping ass on zombies, and it is Morgan. Morgan makes it in, and not only did he make it back, but he made it back with a little set of gifts. He was able to find an Augie's Ale truck, a shout out to Jim and his beer, which he was able to give to all the friends so that they could start the curing process. So it looks like Jim's beer came in once again to save the day. Seems beer is super important in this world after all, as we come full circle. At the very end, Morgan, he ends up making his way back. After all this goes down, they go back to Martha's last location, and her arm has been ripped off, and it's just hanging there at that police car with the handcuff. And Martha's just 100 yards or whatever up the road, and Morgan himself goes up there and actually finishes her off, which I thought was very fitting, by the way, too. Morgan finishing her transition. And so, like I was saying, again, overall, this episode was pretty neat. It looks like they've set us up for season 5, in that Morgan has made the comment that he does not want to go back to Alexandria. He sees that there's too much work to be done in this area. Although we haven't seen a ton of people, it seems that, there could be more to do. And so he wants to kind of basically start back up Polar Bear's operation, and I guess their trucker buddies, and try to leave boxes. And Alicia even makes a point to say, we need to do more than this. We need to, so they find this denim factory where Polar Bear said it kind of all started. He used to make runs for this place, and I guess it's now where all these supplies are being housed, at least so we think so far. And Alicia sees the place. It looks like there's a nice water dam kind of surrounding it on a certain side, and it's like all fenced up. A good secure location it could be, especially if it has supplies. So it looks like they may start up a new kind of refugee location for people to come in and save and start building a colony. And that is kind of cool. I mean, we can definitely head that way. That could be fun. I don't know what kind of other perils they're going to run into in this area, but all the same, this seems to be Morgan's newfound mission. It looks like he's found himself and where he wants to be, and it looks like the others are willing to follow him on this journey. And so that's where we end off. So overall, I'm going to give this episode an 8 out of 10. I think there's a lot of cool things that went down. I think the continuity stayed true throughout this episode. A lot better, at least on some of the decisions that were made. I mean, there were a few things that irked me in this episode, but not near as much as it did in episode 15. Just little mistakes and just things that are just kind of silly decisions all over. So seeing the end of Martha was also really cool, because obviously her story was definitely played out. I'm glad we didn't lose Morgan in this one, because I just feel like we just kind of got him over here, so it's a little early to just, kind of lose his character. And it was kind of nice also not to see anybody else fall victim to zombie mayhem or anything else just yet. So, again, we're set up for a nice season 5. I cannot believe that we are just 1 week away from The Walking Dead's premiere. There looks like there's going to be some crazy things going on this season. Negan, it looks like he's trying to get ramped back up. Looks like the colonies are going to maybe start warring with each other, which is totally bad news, and exactly what Negan told him would happen in a situation of this sort, So there's a lot of things happening. I hope you guys have enjoyed this short review, and I hope you're enjoying the show as much as I am. And so I just want to throw out and mention one more time that don't forget to go out to our channel, of course, if you're enjoying all zombie things, and check out our Dead Nightmare Episode 6 trailer. It's only about a minute long, but it shows some really cool intense scenes and the music and everything that's going on, and the full episode should be out in a minimum of 2 weeks tops. I hope to get it out even faster than that. But until then, I guess we will talk to you next week at the premiere of The Walking Dead. So take care, guys, and have a great week.